Okay, so here's a thought. What if you knew, like really knew, the exact day you were going to die? And not just that, but maybe even how it would happen. What if instead of, being terrified, you saw it as purpose? A chance to shape your final moments into something legendary. That's basically the heart of what we're getting into today. This is our deep dive into the last voyage of Bjorn Fireye. It's this incredible saga drawn from some really old accounts, packed with amazing imagery, big themes. Our mission here is to unpack this story, pull out the fascinating bits about things like prophecy, honor, a warrior's last stand, and maybe see what insights it offers you about your own sense of purpose, maybe legacy too.
Yeah, and what's really striking, I think, is how this narrative just flips our whole modern idea of fate, of inevitability on its head. It's more than just a cool adventure story. It's like a cultural blueprint. It shows how a society could take this terrifying unknown death and turn it into, well, a canvas for ultimate self-expression, for achieving lasting fame. It kind of teaches us that for some people, the biggest fear wasn't dying itself. It was fading away quietly, being forgotten. So this isn't just myth-making. It feels almost like a guide to finding meaning.
That idea, shaping your own end, that's absolutely central, isn't it? The story kicks off with this real sense of dread, almost. A storm's gathering, and we find Bjorn Fireye on his longship, the Sea Wraith. And his left eye, the stories say it burned with this weird, unnatural glow, maybe terrifying, a gift perhaps, or maybe a heavy burden from Odin himself. Apparently, legend goes, he saw the roots of Yggdrasil, the world tree, in a dream once. A terrifying vision. And from that glimpse, Odin gave him this chilling ability to know the exact day of his own death. And well, as the narrative makes very clear, that day had arrived.
Right. And this foreknowledge is not just for drama. It fundamentally changes what heroism even means here. Most heroes we think of, they fight against some unknown fate, right? Driven by desperation, maybe just sheer courage. Bjorn, though, he's operating with this almost chilling clarity. His agency, his choice, it isn't about escaping his destiny. It's about embracing it, directing it even, to achieve a very specific, honorable end. It's like a calculated, almost strategic approach to his own death, turning what seems like a curse into a tool for building his legacy. It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? If we knew our endpoint, how differently would we navigate our lives?
That's a huge question. If knowing the end gives you that kind of clarity, it almost sounds like an advantage, a cheat code maybe. But like you said, it's not for dodging the fight, it's for choosing the right one. So how does this immediate, undeniable knowledge actually, shape his next moves?
Well, the story says, just 3 nights before this fateful dusk, his path was made crystal clear. 2 black ravens appeared. Hugin and Munin thought and memory Odin's own messengers. They circled his hall way up north, and their calls weren't just some vague warning. No, they confirmed the exact nature of his end. An enemy fleet coming from the east, and led by Sigvald the Red, the very same man who'd killed Bjorn's own father. So this wasn't just any death foretold, it was the death, tied directly to his life's biggest unresolved purpose. Yeah, vengeance.
Wow. So divine confirmation, a fatal showdown with his sworn enemy. You'd think most people would just crumble under that kind of pressure. But Bjorn's reaction, it's legendary. He gets his crew together, these hardened warriors who've sailed and fought with him forever, basically. And he tells them, if this is my last voyage, then it shall be sung in Valhalla until the end of days.
No.
That's more than just talk, isn't it? It's like he's framing his own final chapter, declaring his intent.
Exactly. It's like psychological warfare, but aimed inwards as much as outwards. He's crafting his legend as it happens. For this culture, for these warriors, Valhalla wasn't just, an afterlife paradise. It was the ultimate validation, the place your deeds on earth become immortal, literally sung about forever. So his statement isn't really about surviving the day. It's about maximizing the glory of his inevitable end. It suggests that for them, maybe the greatest victory wasn't just staying alive. It was living in such a way that your death became an even more powerful story than your life.
Yeah.
That's a concept that really makes you rethink what success even means.
And it totally explains why he wouldn't even think about backing down. He's not just fighting some enemy ships, he's fighting for his eternal story.
Right, so the stage is set for this final act. The 2 fleets meet in this narrow bay called Whale's Maw, a fitting name. And the description of the battle itself is just visceral. It talks about the sea under the oars churning red with blood, arrows practically blocking out the sun, shields splintering everywhere, the sound, the clang of steel on steel echoing off the cliffs. Just chaos.
Yeah, the narrative really focuses on Bjorn's sheer ferocity here. His axe, it had a name, God Terror, described as just rising and falling relentlessly. He fought, it says, not like a man, but like the storm itself roaring, relentless, unstoppable. But even with that almost superhuman effort, the numbers were just stacked against him. For every enemy warrior he cut down, it seemed like two more took their place. This must have been the ultimate test of his resolve, of the path he'd chosen.
Absolutely. And what's really key here isn't just his skill with the axe, his physical power. It's the psychological edge, knowing this is it, his final act. And knowing it's tied directly to avenging his father, that fuels a whole different kind of fighting. It's not about survival anymore. It's about the ultimate expression of his purpose, his commitment. He isn't fighting to live. He's fighting to complete his story. So this battle, it's more than just a clash of warriors. It's the climax of a personal saga. A son facing his father's killer in a fight he knew would be his last. It really speaks to that idea that true strength can come from embracing your end if you do it with unwavering commitment.
And then comes the moment, the duel. Sigvald the Red, he's described as this huge figure, covered in chainmail, helmet with boar tusks, menacing. He steps forward. Their weapons clash like thunder, the story says, shaking the deck. Sigvald manages to wound Bjorn badly, cuts deep into his side, a mortal wound. But somehow, Fire Eye keeps fighting, grabs Sigvald's helmet, rips it off, and with one last furious roar, drives God Terror right into Sigvald's skull. With their leader down, the enemy fleet just breaks. They turn and flee. So prophecy fulfilled, vengeance achieved. But the way it ends for Bjorn, what's the deeper meaning there?
Well, that climax, that's the absolute core of what this saga tells us about destiny. Bjorn's victory over Sigvald, it isn't some miracle escape. It's the precise, almost ritualistic fulfillment of the prophecy, the moral wound he takes. That's not a tragedy in this context. It's the preordained, chosen way he makes his glorious exit. It cements his ultimate control, not over fate, but within the terms of his fate. And as he collapses, supposedly murmuring, "Tell the Allfather that Bjorn Fire-Eye comes with honor," and Odin's ravens, Hugin and Munin, land on the ship's mast above him. It's this moment of profound, almost serene acceptance. He consciously chose this death, and by doing so, he transformed it into the ultimate statement about his life's meaning, his renown. It really challenges us, doesn't it? Is real freedom found in trying to dodge destiny or in mastering its conditions?
Mastering its conditions. Yeah, that really shifts the perspective. It suggests that even if things are predetermined, there's immense power in how you choose to meet them. Wow. What an incredible journey, this deep dive into the last voyage of Bjorn Fire-Eye. Cicada. Going from that ominous warning from Odin's ravens, Hugin and Munin, confirming the prophecy he apparently knew since seeing Yggdrasil's roots, all the way to that brutal battle at Whale's Maw, the sea turning red, and his final honorable stand against Sigvald the Red. It's summed up so perfectly in that last verse from the Skald, isn't it? Better to burn in the last battle's fire than fade in the quiet halls of age. Just powerful stuff.
It really is. And Bjorn's story, it kind of forces us to think about the choices he made, embracing his destiny instead of running from it. He understood somehow that some endings, even tough ones, can be the most meaningful part of a life, the most defining part. So for you, listening, maybe this story prompts some reflection. What would it mean to really know your why, your core purpose? And how might that kind of clarity, even when facing difficulties you know are coming, shape the choices you make every day? It's definitely not about seeking death, but maybe about defining your life with that kind of intense purpose.
Yeah, and it leaves you with that really provocative question hanging in the air, doesn't it? Well, what does it actually mean to live and maybe to die with such a solid sense of honor, of purpose, that your whole life becomes a story, a song? How much of our own lives are shaped by the narrative we choose to live by? What kind of song do we want people to remember about our journey? Perhaps for you, it's worth thinking about what your own Valhalla might look like. Not necessarily an afterlife, but, the ultimate meaning, the legacy you choose to build.